Is it fair to say the government has abandoned the pubs?
Good morning, Andrea. The focus is on keeping the people of Ireland safe. The focus is on suppressing the virus, on getting the schools open and protecting the economy. And what the government did yesterday was follow the public health advice. I met the Chief Medical Officer directly after the NPHET meeting. And the message conveyed to me and to government was that NPHET were unanimous and unambiguous on the fact that we are very finely balanced at the moment, and that reopening pubs or increasing large gatherings or other measures which in other countries we have seen increase the rate of the virus could have very, very serious consequences in Ireland. So to put it into context, the virus is spreading internationally. 14 of the 15 countries on the green list have seen serious increases just in the last 2 weeks. The 5-day average here, we were down to less than 10 new cases a day. That's now more than 50 new cases a day. The 14-day cumulative cases per 100,000, this is a key measure for NPHET and for the WHO, we were down at 2.5 cases per 100,000. That's gone up to 8. In the last, 2 weeks ago, we had 120 new cases. Last week we had 284, so nearly 2.5 times more.
But you know where they're coming from, Minister, because you know that they've been identified as clusters within really certain areas. So they're quite identifiable. It's not that it's over 200 individual community transmission cases.
It's both. So what we have is we have 8 significant clusters, 4 in factories involving food processing, 4 in direct provision. We have numerous smaller clusters around the country as well. And we have an increase in what they call community transmission. So these are the cases where people pick up the disease, but it's unknown where they got it from.
Okay.
So
why not look then at the idea of the localised reopening of some individual premises and give them stricter closing times, strict guidelines in a similar way as you did to the gastropubs or the restaurants just 3-4 weeks ago? Why not look at that localised?
Well, the short answer is because the public health advice is to not do that. The reason the public health advice is saying that is a few things. First of all, the community transmission cases are happening all over the country. So it's not that they're all in Dublin or they're all in Galway or they're all in any place. They're happening all over the country. They're happening in rural Ireland. The second reason is the international evidence strongly shows that when pubs are reopened, in spite of everybody's best efforts and best intentions, it does lead to an increase in cases.
Okay, I just have to interrupt you there, Minister, if you don't mind, because I heard the Executive Director of the World Health Organisation, Mike Ryan, only less than about a day and a half ago or yesterday morning, and he said, now he's the Executive Director of the WHO, he said that Ireland may need to consider reopening pubs on a county-by-county basis depending on the virus threat levels. So he made that suggestion, and I also heard Luke O'Neill, who's one of the leading immunologists from Trinity College, speaking on the Pat Kenny show yesterday, saying there's a case for rural pubs to be allowed to reopen from Monday.
And certainly in the future, regional restrictions and relaxing regional restrictions is something that we will be looking at. What Mike Ryan said, I listened to him, and here's exactly what he said, Andrea. He said poorly ventilated, when he was asked about pubs, poorly ventilated, crowded places where people may reduce their social distancing, let their guard down. He goes on to say crowded gatherings, things where particularly younger people gather in large numbers, where social distancing is compromised. As we have seen in other countries, this can spark epidemics. So he said that as well. But ultimately, the government takes its public health advice from the Chief Medical Officer and from NPHET, and their advice is unambiguous on this.